My mother said, nope, not that Judith, not that Judith. When she said Judith, she meant business. She said, there'll be other cakes, I promise you. And there were. Let's see, I grew up, I was born on June 1st in 1939, just before World War II broke out. I remember my dad losing his job because everybody had to go into war work. So he went to the shipyard, and he was an electrician building warships. Mom was a nurse. I can remember me dressing up in a WAC outfit and handing out egg salad sandwiches to the blood donors. And I would go with my dad to the shipyard and stand on a ladder and sing God Bless America while he handed out or sold war bonds. My first birthday cake was when I was 6 years old. Mother collected sugar from all my aunts, a quarter of a cup, and I had this beautiful chocolate cake. And the next day after my birthday, I came home from school and opened the lid on it, and it was moving. It had been invaded by ants. And I was so upset, and I said to my mom, please, please let us use a tweezers. We can get them all out of there. We can have that cake. My mother said, nope, not that Judith, not that Judith. When she said Judith, she meant business. She said, there'll be other cakes, I promise you. And there were. She was a beautiful lady. Her name was Hildegard Louise Abersold Werner. Hildegard means mighty warhorse. She wasn't. But I still don't think I would have ever crossed my mom. There was something about her that was just kind of regal. I think she was, I'm all, what you see is what you get. I'm like that. Well, my mother was rather stoic. But boy, was she a good mom. My father was John Werner, and he came from Europe, from Austria-Hungary when he was 8 years old. A very poor family. They finally made it out of Ellis Island and were conscripted by a steel company to come to Lorraine. He was gregarious. He was loving and fun. He and Mother were opposites. Daddy and I were two pigs in the same poke. We were all together. And we never knew when to quit teasing. My mother'd have to step in and stop this right now before it got out of control. It was kind of funny. When I was 12, I got my piano, and I just about drove my dad nuts because I practiced so much. I loved it. I joined the choir, the concert choir. I just loved it. I was in every musical. I loved music. I was also involved in the pep club, the newspaper, the yearbook, the attendance office. I was just everywhere. I had all this energy, and it was easy to harness. One day, though, in the fall of my senior year, I was shocked. I got an announcement, a letter, and it said I was going to be the football queen. And I thought, what? Me, a football queen? I didn't date any of the football players. I wasn't interested in football. Why me? I was shocked. But the best part of that whole thing was getting that kiss from that football captain. I liked that part. That was the best part of the whole thing. My career was a teacher. This is my 63rd year of working with children. So I guess I was a lucky person because I found a passion in teaching. And I hope everybody in their life doesn't give up until they have a passion. And that's what they spend their time doing. It's a waste otherwise. Well, let's see. I met Robert Carl Coppersmith, when he was about 15, and maybe I was 16. And we met at Dunkirk, New York, where he was working, and I was stopping by on my way to Canada with my family, and I met him. I wasn't impressed. So many years later, I'm at Heidelberg, and I am a sophomore, and Bob is a freshman. And I met him on campus there. And I knew he liked me, but I did not want to be associated with any one person. I had places to go and things to do, and I did not want to be hampered in any way, shape, or form. So I ignored him. So it was another year later, and I had gone home for the weekend. And when I got back to my dorm, the girls said, "Judy, do you know that Bob Coppersmith dated Gloria Adcock?" I said, "What?" And I caught myself being jealous, and I was taken back by it. And I thought, wait a minute, what does that mean? I think I really like Bob. So that was the beginning of a relationship when I finally gave in. And that blossomed for years and years. And he went to Europe his junior year. I was student teaching on the job. And that's when we wrote all of our letters, 360 plus letters through that year. We married in 1961. That was a kind of a funny thing too, because my mother was very ill at the time, and we were going to put this wedding off for a long time, and we were sitting there at Thanksgiving, and my dad said, "Bob, you need to get married now." He said, because Judy is an only child and she's going to stay with her mother no matter what. This is not a good thing. You need to get your lives together. And that next day we planned our wedding for December 22nd. This was on Thanksgiving. We got married in a blizzard. And people couldn't get to the church. It was a 2:30 service. We had to have a candlelight service because it was black. It was a blizzard and a half. That was our beginning. And we were married in 62. In 66, John came. In 68, Jim came. And we were on our way. So we were married. This year we will have been married 60 years. He died 3 years ago. I loved his quietness. I loved his patience. He never raised his voice. And he was a great dad, so accepting of our boys. Such a good dad. We have 2 sons. John was our first son. He was born in 1966, John Carl Coppersmith. He has a heart of gold. He will help anybody. He has more friends than I will ever have. Then I have a second son, and he was born in 1968, what am I saying? And he is unique and special too. He was quite a student. He went to the University of Cincinnati and became a mechanical engineer. I have 2 grandchildren. I have Jack Henry. We have another grandson named JC, spelled Jaecie. I want them to know that I loved them from the get-go, that I have always accepted them and will always accept them and love them. My grandchildren were so special to me the first 4 or 5 years of their life. And then for some reason I'll never understand, we were denied, Bob and I were denied to be able to see them. That was just not possible. And that was a heartbreak for me. I shed more tears about that. I kept reminding myself I had other children, but it didn't fit that hole in my heart. And without the faith in God, and I don't know if I would have gotten through that. After Bob retired, he got lost. And he found his relief from that through alcohol. And for many years, Bob was an alcoholic. And so when he was drinking, and it was always hidden, never social, I would know, of course, and I would call the police, who were all my students, and they would arrest him, and he would go to jail, and there would be court costs and legal fees and rehab, or whatever you want to call it, when you're not ready for it and it's wasted. But it was all that money, and we watched our retirement just go right away. But I knew that we could win this someday. We got through this. And then Bob enjoyed the last 11 years of his life sober. And that was a God thing from the get-go. And the forgiving is a tough thing, and I couldn't have done that without God. I think about all the sins that he forgives. And ours seemed Mickey Mouse compared to some of those sins that are in the world. And I thought, I can do this. It's not easy. Sometimes that garbage comes back. It's on a shelf and it just comes tumbling off the shelf. But with a good prayer, it goes right back where it belongs. I'm not afraid of death because I think it's going to be a really exciting time. Talk about that, looking forward to something. I really think I'm going to see my old friends. I'm going to see Bob and my parents and his parents. I'm going to see old friends. Maybe even some of my pups, because boy, they're really cool too. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm not afraid of it. I might be a little concerned about getting there, but the end result, I think, is going to be joyful and wonderful, and I'm going to meet the Creator, the one who put all this in action, and that's going to be magnificent. What would I like to do before I leave this world is a doozy question, and I think it still has to do with serving. There are so many people who are lonely out there, so many people who need a friend, so many people who need help but don't know how to ask for it or get it. And I hope that I am sensitive enough to fill some of those little spots when I feel that need. Their need. Now, here are some words of wisdom. Make connections. Enjoy your family. Call on them. Be with them. Another thing is continuously learn. Don't ever be complacent with where you are. There's always more to do. There's always more to discover. I'm Judy Coppersmith, and I'm leaving you a legacy.